Hello guys, I gave an interview in a company called Swarna Sky, and the company location is the Hyderabad, and the interview date was the May 6th, 2025. So the first question they asked me, what is the array merge and array combined? So so let's say we have two array 1 1 to 5 and array 2 6 to 9. So if we are merging this array underscore merge, so we'll get the output like 0 key value 0 1 1 2 2 3. So it will merge all the arrays 1 to 9, all the array elements from 1 to 9. Now if we use the array underscore combine, so it will give an error. Argument 1 keys and argument 2 values must have the same number of elements. Issue: the function array combined array 1 array 2 requires that both array must have the same number of elements so that it becomes keys and value. Okay, so how can we do that? If the array 1 and array 2 have the same number of elements, then it will give the output. First array will be the keys and second array will be the values. If these are not equal, then it will throw an error. Second question they asked me, write down third highest salary MySQL query. So for that, let's have let's suppose you have a table employees. So and you have to show the highest third salary. So select distinct salary from employees, order by salary, disk, limit 1, offset 2. Okay, and if you want to show if there are multiple same values in the third highest salary, then select star from employees where salary equal to, then you have to make a subquery, select distinct salary from employees, order by salary, disk, limit 1, offset 2. They ask me optimize website in the code level. So use output buffering. Instead of sending output immediately, buffer it and send it to all at once. Avoid repeated function calls. Bad. For I equal to 0, I less than equal to count array I plus plus. Instead of this, you can use the dollar length equal to count array, and then for I equal to 1, I is less than equal to length and I plus plus. Use isset or empty instead of the strlen or comparison. If isset dollar get id, so it would be the faster than check-in. Use prepared statement pd or mysql, so prevent sql injection and reduce the parsing overhead. So $stma pdo prepared select star from user where id equal to question mark stmt execute id. Fifth, cache expensive operation. Use file-based Redis or Memcached caching. Example, simple file cache. $cache file equal to cache and slash data.json. If file exists, cache files and end time minus file time, cache file is less than 3600, then $data equal to JSON decode, file get contents, cache file true. Else $data equal to get expensive data, file put content, cache file JSON encode data. Minimize use of the include or require in loops. Move them outside loops or use autoloading SPL underscore autoload underscore register or composer. Seventh, use for each instead for the array. For each arrays as $key values. More efficient for associative arrays. Eighth, enable PHP opcode cache. In production, enable opcache in php.ini. So opcache.enable equal to 1, opcache.memory consumption 128, opcache internal string buffer 8, opcache max accelerator file 10,000. So you have to do opcache.enable 1. Avoid deep nesting and use early return. If user if user is active, so this is a bad thing. Better if $user or operator $user is not active or returned. Okay. Use efficient data structure. Use in the array for small lists but is set on associative array is faster. List A true, B true. If is set list key. Okay. 11 profile and benchmark. Use tools like the Xdebug, WebGrind or Blackfire.io or Tideways. Another question they ask me transactions in MySQL. So in SQL, a transaction is a set of operations that are executed as a single unit. These operations can include multiple SQL statements such as insert, update, or delete. Transaction ensure that the database maintains its integrity and consistency according to the ACID property, that is the atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. Basic transaction command: start transaction, commit, and rollback. So start transaction, initiate a transaction. Commit saves all changes made during the transaction to the database, and rollback undoes all changes made during the transaction, returning the database to its state before the transaction began. So basic SQL transaction example: start transaction, perform some operation, update account, set balance equal to balance minus 100 where account ID equal to 1. Update account, set balance equal to balance plus 100 where account ID equal to 2. If everything is correct, commit the changes and commit, then roll back a transaction. If something goes wrong during the transaction, you can use the rollback to undo the changes. So start transaction, I already say. Okay. If an error occur before the commit statement, the rollback ensures that no changes are applied to the database. Okay. So what we have done here, a transaction being with the start transaction, two updates statements are executed to transfer money between two accounts. If the transaction is successful, commit is issued making the changes permanent. Transaction acids, that is atomicity, consistency, isolation, durability. The concept of transaction in database is defined by the acid property, which ensures that the database operations are processed reliably. Here is a breakdown of the each component of acid. Atomicity or all or nothing. Consistency, valid state. Isolation, independent execution. Durability, permanent. So first of all, atomicity, that is a all or nothing. Definition: a transaction is treated as a single unit, meaning either all of its operations are executed or none are. Example: if a transaction involves transferring money from one account to another, both the debit from one account and the credit to the other must succeed. If one fails, the entire transaction is rolled back, ensuring no partial updates. Second, consistency, that is a valid state. Definition: a transaction takes the database from one valid state to another valid state. It ensures that the rules and constraints of the database, such as the foreign key checks, are always maintained. Example: if a rule says that the balance in an account cannot be negative, a transaction that tries to withdraw more money than the available balance will fail, keeping the data consistent. Third, isolation, that is the independent execution. Definition: transactions are executed in isolation, meaning that the operations of one transaction are not visible to other until the transaction is complete. This ensures that the transactions do not interface with each other. For example, if two users try to transfer money from the same account simultaneously, isolation ensures that the final result is correct, and if they were processed one after the other, even if they were proceed at the same time. Durability. Definition: once a transaction is committed, its changes are permanent. Even in the case of system crash or failure, the database ensures that the changes are returned to the non-volatility storage like a disk. Example: if a transaction to transfer money is committed and the system crashes afterward, the transaction's effect, money transferred, will still be preserved when the system recovers. So summary is atomicity, everything happens or nothing happens. Consistency, data moves from one value state to another. Isolation, transaction don't affect each other's operations. Durability, once a transaction is completed, its changes are permanent. Fifth question, how do you call store procedure? So you can call a store procedure in MySQL using the call statement. Basic syntax: call procedure name parameter 1 parameter 2. Example: a stored procedure is a prepared SQL code that you can save so that the code can be reused over and over again. So if you have an SQL query that you write over and over again, save it is as a stored procedure and then just call it to execute it. For example, create a sample database. Create database company, use company, create a table, employees, and put some column their ID, name, department, and salary. Then insert some dummy data. Then create procedure, get all employees, begin select star from employees and delimiter. Call the store procedure, call get all employees. Sixth question, double equal to and triple equal to in PHP. Okay. So let's we have the x triple equal to hello. So it is a strict comparison. Checks both values and types. Types mean data types. Does not perform type conversion. The operand must have the same type and value to the return values. For example, we have a variable $x equal to hello, capital H, and then all the letter in the small one. So if we are using a var dump $x triple equal to hello, and hello the capital H and another thing are the smaller in this case. So output will be true, same value and same type. Let's suppose we are using the var underscore dump and $x triple equal to hello and the first letter that is H is in the small letter. So it will throw the false because same value but different cases. Now let's have var dump $x triple equal to 5. So it will return the false, that is different types. So this is for the triple equal to. Now it comes on the double equal to, x equal to hello, loose comparison, perform type correction. If the types are different, PHP will attempt to convert one or both operands to a common type before making the comparison. Let's let's suppose we have $x equal to hello and the H is in the capital letter and another letters are in the small letter. So where dump $x equal to hello, if you are using the small h, so it will return the false because the case sensitive comparison. Where dump 5 double equal to 5, so it will, and you are using the string 5, so it will return the true because type correction string 5 is converted to number 5. Now where dump 0 double equal to false, true, type correction 0 is converted to false. Okay. Another question they ask me, how do you declare variable in PHP? So in PHP, variables are declared using the $sign followed by the variable name. For example, $variable name, this is a syntax, equal to value. Rules for declaring variable. Okay, so it should be must start with the dollar. The variable name must start with the letter or underscore. Cannot start with a number. Variable name are case sensitive. That is $name is not equal to dollar and capital name. Limitation to declare a variable. Another question they asked. So naming rule is must start with $sign. Variable name must begin with a character, with a letter or underscore. It cannot start with a number. Only allowed character like A to Z, small a to Z, capital A to Z, numbers 0 to 9 and underscore. Case sensitivity. Variable name are case sensitive. Third, Reserved keyword. Avoid using PHP reserved keyword like the class function echo as variable name. Cannot use special character. Variable names cannot contain special or special space or special character like the at the rate, hyphen, hash, etc. Another question they ask me, the primary key versus unique key. So primary key enforce unique value. Unique key enforce unique values. Null value allowed in primary key? No. Null value allowed in the unique key? Yes. Number per table, only one in the primary key, can have multiple in the case of the unique keys. Default index type, clustered index in primary key, that is INNODB. In unique key, non-clustered index. Used for primary key, uniquely identifies, that is each row. In the case of unique key, enforce alternate unique constraint. Index created in the primary key, yes, automatically created. In unique key, yes, automatically created. Can be composite. Primary key, yes, multiple columns. Unique key, yes, multiple columns. Null behavior. Primary key, no null value allowed in any column. So unique key, null value allowed unless explicitly restricted. Primary key column. Unique key, unique column or unique key name column. Primary key, entity identity, that is ID. Unique key, alternate key, email username. Okay. So these are the differences. Now what is the difference between the clustered index and non-clustered index? Clustered index, data physically sorted. Not clustered, data stored separately. Clustered index, only one. Non-clustered, many allowed. Clustered index, faster. Non-clustered, slower. Clustered index, no extra copy of data. Non-clustered, extra storage of index. Clustered index, primary key. Non-clustered index, unique normal index. Can unique key is null? If yes, how many null values? Yes, a column with a unique key in MySQL can be contain null values. How many null values are allowed? MySQL allows multiple null values in unique key or column. This is because in SQL null is not equal to null. Each null is treated as a different unknown value. So this is very important question. How many null values are allowed? MySQL allows multiple null values in a unique key because null is not equal to null, because each null is treated different unknown table. So MySQL treats multiple null values as not duplicates. Okay. So let's have so 10th question they asked me, given an array A and they have given us array array element A B C A B D F D C, count the alphabet functions. So for that you have a function for that, array underscore count underscore value, array count values. Inside that array dollar array colon array. Okay. Okay, now if we want to make it in the practical, so dollar a equal to, we have a b c a b d f d c. Okay, now result variable you have to declare equal to array underscore count underscore values. So acv, you can remember it like that, acv array count values dollar a, then print our result. So it will return the output like a equal to 2 times, b equal to 2 times, c equal to 2 times, d equal to 2 times, f equal to 1 time. Another question they asked me, trait in PHP. So PHP does not support multiple inheritance directly because class in PHP can inherit from only one parent class. This restriction avoids the complexity and ambiguity of the diamond problem, which can occur in the multiple inheritance scenario. Let's suppose you have a trait logger and public function log. Another trait notifier, public function notify. Then class user use both the trait, use logger and notifier. Public function create user name, echo user name created, this log created user, and this notify create user. So user equal to new user create user alias. So user alias created, this is output, log created user alias, notification user alias has been added. Next question they ask me PHP 7 versus PHP 8. So PHP 7 fast, PHP 8 even faster because of the JIT engine. Named argument in PHP 7 no, in PHP 8 yes. Match expression PHP 7 no, PHP 8 yes. Null safe operator in PHP 7 no, PHP 8 yes. Attribute annotation PHP 7 no, PHP 8 yes. Attributes. Union types in PHP 7 string, PHP 8 no. Constructor promotion in PHP 7 no, PHP 8 yes. str contents in PHP 7 no, PHP 8 yes. JIT compiler in PHP 7 no, PHP 8 yes. Old functions still available in PHP 7 and PHP 8, some removed or changed. So what is JIT? So JIT stands for the just-in-time compiler. Instead of running PHP code line by line like usual, JIT compiles part of a code into machine level instruction just before they are needed, making it run faster, especially for a complex or repeated task. So here is a cleaner view. Uh, for example, you have created a prime number program. PHP is prime $num. If num is less than equal to 1, return false. For I equal to true, I is less than sqrt num, I plus plus. If if dollar num ampersand I equal to 0, so return false. So return true. Start micro time true. Count 0. For I equal to 1, I equal to less than equal to 10,000. Dollar I plus plus each prime I count plus plus. Dollar end micro time true. So echo total prime number count. Echo time taken end minus start seconds. So now see the comparison. PHP 7.4 it will take almost 1.8 seconds. PHP 8 with no JIT approximately it will take 1.7 seconds. In PHP 8 with JIT it will take approximately 1.1 seconds. So conclusion, JIT can improve performance especially for CPU heavy loops or calculation. Not a big boost of typical website tasks like rendering HTML but great for the data processing. So step to enable JIT, find your php.ini file and opcache.enable it should be 1. Okay. And opcache enable CLI1 and opcache JIT underscore buffer size 100 M and opcache.jit 1255. The last question they asked me the new feature in PHP 8. So first of all JIT just in time compiler, then union types allows multiple types in parameter, named argument, pass argument by name not just by the order, match expression a better alternative to the switch, safer and more concise, null safe operator avoid null errors when chaining calls, user profile email, attributes add metadata or classes function, constructor property promotion declare and assign class properties directly in the constructor, new string function str contains str start with str ends with, static return type function can now return static type, weak maps better memory management for object in the cache, and improve error handling more consistent and helpful error message. Next question they asked me what is the difference between what is the next question they asked me what is the difference between interface and abstract class. So if you don't know anything about implementation, just we have the requirements specification, then we should go for the interface. in abstract class, if we are talking about the implementation but not completely partial implementation, then we should go for the abstract class. Inside interface, every method is always public and abstract, whether we are declaring it or not. Hence, interface is also considered as 100% pure abstract class. In abstract class, every method present in abstract class need not to be public and abstract. In addition to the abstract method, we can take concrete method also. Third, we can't declare interface method with the following modifier: public, private, protected, abstract, final, static, synchronized, native, and strict, strict FP. We can declare abstract method, no restriction on the abstract class method modifiers. Every variable present inside the interface is always public, static, and final, whether we are declaring or not. In the case of the abstract, the variables present inside the abstract class need not to be public, static, and final. We can't declare interface variable within the following modifier like the private, protected, transit, or volatile. In the case of the abstract class, there are no restrictions on abstract class variable modifiers. For interface variable, compulsory we should perform the initialization at the time of the declaration, otherwise we'll get the compile time error. In the abstract, for abstract class variables, it is not required to perform the initialization at the time of the declaration. Inside interface, we can't declare instance and static blocks, otherwise we'll get some compile time error. In the case of inside the abstract class, we can declare instance and static blocks. Inside interface, we can't declare constructors. Inside abstract class, we can declare constructors while we will be executed at the time of the child object. Note 1. Since Java 8 interface can have the default and static method also. Note 2. Abstract class can have final, non-final, static and non-static variable. Note 3. Serialization implementation is possible in the interface using the maker interface. So these were the questions asked by the Swarn Sky Hyderabad, and the interview date was the May 6, 2025. I will share more interview questions. Till then, bye.